Okay guys, I just literally recorded a 20-minute video and realized the whole time I'm sitting on my floor, I was sitting on my microphone, so there's no sound whatsoever. So now I have to do this again. But the benefit of that might be it being way more concise. Okay, take a deep breath and start over. Okay, so this is gonna be my July reflection, August goal setting, but I'm gonna streamline this bad boy, guys, because I think these videos tend to get repetitive. So let me see if I can do that for you. Oh my God, I cannot believe I just recorded that and I just didn't, you're not gonna be able to hear anything. Okay, so July goals, most things got done. This is exactly how I usually set up my goals every month. Personal becomes my like Jess stuff. I like to make notes of things here that may, like change, don't become irrelevant, things that are in progress. I make these notes during the month next to goals so that I kind of know where I'm at once I'm planning for the upcoming month. So you can see that's there. And then each week, let's see if I can make this streamlined. Here we go. Each week I break those goals down into action steps. Some of this becomes incredibly repetitive, as you can see, like record weekly podcasts, post Instagram. Like this stuff becomes incredibly repetitive. And I'm going to talk about that here at the end of the video and how I might remedy that, not until September, but as I was talking through my last 20-minute video that didn't get recorded well, I had an epiphany. So a lot of the stuff, again, repeats. So podcast, fun and recreation, this usually doesn't get too much, but that evolves here as we go. This becomes like a home, my physical environment becomes like a home to-do list. Financial stuff becomes more like a to-do list. Still continuing to work on this spirituality piece here. This unplugged Sunday and social media limits is going to change, as you'll see as the weeks go by, because it becomes less and less relevant. So there's that. So then we go to the next week. All of this, again, if you can see, is very repetitive. We did get our brooder ready for our chicks coming. I've been trying to, again, build this spirituality practice in the morning, but it's not working yet. So I don't have a routine yet, but I am enjoying the time in the morning that I get up and I do my admin tasks, but this is a work in progress. Again, making notes about the more things that I did. Back to training, we had taken a week off the week before. Let's see, baby chicks arrived, that was exciting. Let's see what else, anything interesting or different on here. Social, you can see here again, I'm saying social media limits, stuff. This monitoring is becoming irrelevant because I'm naturally not on social media as much now that we have the homestead and we are outside all the time. And I'm obviously doing my reflection every week, what my wins for the week, what worked, didn't work, adjustments I need to make, gratitude, and next week's focus. It just helps me wrap up the previous week. I usually do this on Monday or Tuesday of the next week, and helps me plan ahead and helps me with my monthly reflection. And then we get to this week here. I did try a little something different. I have mini icons to note some like tasks that need to come to my attention, budgeting, podcast, things like that. Okay, I know that was super fast, but you get the point, because if you've watched my other videos, you basically know how I break down goals. Monthly reflection here. I like this, and it really does help me move forward into the next month. So I always highlight my biggest wins. So as I flip through here, I look back at my highlights that I put in the notes section. I always do like a little daily highlights. So I look at that, and then I look at my weekly reflections, and that helps me pull out what my biggest wins for the month were. Got our baby chicks. Cleared the hill. We have a big hill in front of our property that was like bush hogged because the weeds were 8 feet tall, and then we've been clearing the brush and mowing. That was a huge accomplishment. And I updated the abandoned cart email in our workflow emails for the print shop. So some big stuff here on the month goals got done. What's working? I'm getting up early naturally and doing my AM routine. The other things working is listening to my body. Because we are working in the yard so much and doing so much manual labor, we've had to adjust our workouts accordingly because we've been so sore from all the work. And homesteading, it's great. It's a lot of work, unbelievable amount of work, but it's definitely worth it and rewarding. Things that aren't working, I've been recording my podcast on Monday mornings at like 6 or 6:30 a.m. And while the time is great because it's quiet in the house, I'm not really coherent at the level I would like to be at the beginning of the podcast. So I need to figure out a better recording schedule. Lunch planning, because we've been doing so much work in the yard and we get caught up with things, sometimes we unintentionally intermittent fast, and we need to have better prep for lunches so we're not missing lunch, because then we are extremely hungry for dinner, and sometimes we just need that extra nutrition. Even though there's nothing wrong with intermittent fasting, we just need more nutrition. what I've learned this month: patience, practice, progress. Homesteading and repairing neglected land takes lots of patience. So it's time to practice what I preach and know it's going to take years. Just like I tell people, it's going to take years to improve your health, improve your finances. It takes years to improve land. Calm down, just slow down. It's okay. Practice. I get a little bit of analysis paralysis as I do all my learning, and I always have on my thing to learn something new each day, but I can kind of find myself going, I need to learn everything before I take a step. Sometimes I need to remember practice is the best way to learn things. Sometimes you just got to do it, right? And then progress. Sometimes it's so easy to think all the things you have ahead of you, you forget to acknowledge your progress you've made so far. So really take the time to go, wait, I have done X, Y, and Z. I know there's a lot ahead, but just remember to focus on your progress. What improvements or adjustments do I want to make for next month? I need to find some quiet time in the morning. I need to get back to some reading and lunch planning. Grateful for my strength. I'm so glad that I am physically strong because it really allows me to do a lot of this homesteading stuff. And habits I want to nurture for next month is quiet time and lunch planning. Gave the month a 9. Okay, that was the fastest goal review ever because I literally feel like I've been talking about this for 40 minutes because I already recorded this video. So I hope you get the point of the recap. So monthly goals for August. What I did here was some of it is my usual. Again, the personal stuff is the Jess stuff, my podcast, my posts. The one thing I want to figure out, the focus on this month is getting a new routine, recording the podcast, and thinking about doing a homestead YouTube. Right now I'm doing a Friday Instagram TV video, but I think I want to add a YouTube, so I need to maybe start that. Okay. Fun and recreation and home, these kind of go hand in hand because for me, the thing I've really been wanting to work on when I set my annual goals was homesteading. I mean, that's part of personal. I mean, all of this stuff intertwines for me. So there's a lot of things aren't as compartmentalized in my actual life as they are here in a goal setting planner. So for me, it's caring for our chickens, building our chickshaw, which is our mobile chicken tractor, and then researching our next animal, goats or pigs, we shall see. Work is the usual stuff, releases, videos, all that. One thing I do want to focus on for August is thinking about doing a printable food journal. We've been getting a lot of requests for people that are finding my food journal video and wondering if we still make the inserts, which we don't. So I want to look into making that a printable, possibly having it printed and coil bound and selling it. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but I need to do some research on that because we've been getting tons of requests on that. Dates are usual. You can see I had preemptively tried to plan ahead and put down unplugged Sundays and social media limits because that's been my routine, but that has changed because it just has become irrelevant. So I marked that out and we're just focusing on listening to my body. 5 minutes in the morning. Don't know what it means yet, but I just put it there. We'll see how that evolves. Financial stuff is my usual. Physical environment is I have my little monthly things I need to buy and restock on, maintain my cleaning routine, and I want to continue working on the couple of spreadsheets I made for kind of documenting the cost of having chickens and then starting the homestead. And then we go into the first week here and we have some of this broken down, buy stuff on my list. So some of these things are, I figure with the 5 minutes, we'll build to 5 minutes. So 1 to 5 minutes in the AM of quiet time or reflection time, something. This is, as you know, if you've watched my videos, it's been a work in progress for a while and we haven't really gotten anywhere, but that's okay. Look into YouTube. So that's going to be step 1 of starting the YouTube and start working on the chickshaw. So this is the rough start of my first week of action steps for my August goals. So let me get to the main point of this video. Not the main point, but the point I wanted to point out the thing I wanted to point out between Inkwell and Makse, and kind of something that I thought about as I was doing this. So last month I did a video on how to kind of integrate the Makse Life system into Inkwell and just kind of the differences between these two goal setting systems. And I used our mission board hexagon so I could color code each area based on the colors of the areas in the goal setting activity in the beginning of the Inkwell. And again, kind of did the same thing I do on my Makse, where I put a couple to-do items or goals or tasks for that month. Then as I started to prep for this video, I just opened up to August, didn't use any stickers, and put very simple things down. Some of these are main to-do tasks, some of these are more intentional. But what I did is, obviously Inkwell has 6 categories, Makse has 8. I did add business here in this blank one. So technically it has 7. I guess I could use that as the 8th. But what I did was try to sum up all of the stuff I had in here into one or two things. So me time to me is personal. That me time that's how I kind of see the overlap into these two. And while most of this is routine, I didn't want to transfer that over into here. So the main thing I want to focus on is starting the homestead YouTube. So try to keep it simple. Home, this guy, would be physical environment in my opinion, in Makse. And to me, this kind of is summed up as like restock and continue working on yard work. I didn't really note in here this whole cost list thing that I put in Makse, but this is kind of like restock, document, and keep working. So more general, broader terms here for the mission board. Health, I was just listening to my body, that crossed over. Dream big to me is, we're using that, I'm having these two, fun and recreation and dream big. So right now, the main focus is building the chickshaw. Business, to me, this all equates to another thing I want to focus on, which is like focusing on our analytics, email and Google, and planning ahead. While that's not written on here, this is kind of a broader focus that I could use for the month. Financials are usual, budget, and then save money to spend on homestead stuff. Relationships, weekly dates, that's just summed up here. And then I feel like I'm missing something. Maybe not. Okay, so as I was doing this really quick practice of like opening up the Inkwell to the mission board and saying, how can I take all of the stuff that's in the Makse and sum it up here, made me realize a major difference between these two and my experience of using them. Makse gives you a ton of space and a ton of categories, which I think is incredibly beneficial for so many people, myself included. I've really enjoyed this process the past 8 months. And what I find with this much space available is I end up making these things more list-based and task-based versus more general, which is great, right? Because then I have these to-do lists, in a sense, for each of the categories, then which goes back to fulfilling some of these bigger goals for the year. So I think that worked out really great. But what I find then is a lot of the stuff that I put here, all these little tasks, then just get carried over to each week as repetitive things. So what I felt like when I whipped this Inkwell out to do the mission board, that was the benefit of it is I have a limited space, and I thought to myself, what is one thing I can put down to focus on? What is my main focus for the month? And it allowed me to broaden my focus so that I can get nuanced in my weekly action steps. So yeah, I could put podcasts and all that in there. This is already automated. The podcast is something I'm already doing. Yeah, I need to tweak my routine, but it's already in there. What's the new thing or the goal for the month would be to start the homestead. So I think what happens to me in the Makse is I start to get very almost hyper detailed in the monthly. And then again, this becomes like a repetitive thing for the weekly action steps. So I think I have a tendency to put my routines in here versus the new goal for the particular month, because I feel like I have so much space. So there's something in my brain that's going, fill up this space. Where here I feel like the space is so small. What's the one main thing I want to focus on? So that's definitely something I've found is different between the two, and doing this real quick summing it up task in the Inkwell Press Mission Board. I don't think either one of these is better than the other. I think they're just different. I think some people probably use this monthly goals in the Makse the way I would use the mission board and just write one thing, like what is my main goal for the month, versus having this more detailed or numerous task list for each category. So I think this really taught me, taking 5 seconds to do the mission board, that I might need to, going forward, maybe for September, to approach this like I would approach the mission board, and then use the weekly action steps to get more detailed, or maybe just put like a focus and then also have these tasks. I don't know, I'm still working out the details of that, but I feel like sometimes I get overwhelmed still 8 months in by how much stuff I put on here, even though a lot of this is routine that I check off automatically and would do regardless if I put it on here. This felt a little bit more, having one thing directed my attention more easily to the overarching thing. I don't know if that's making sense. Not sure. Hopefully it does. Anyways, I just thought I would give my 2 cents about the 2 different systems and kind of my thoughts after doing a real quick activity with them for me for this video. And I am rambling. Let me know your thoughts on goal setting. What works for you? Do you need more detail? Do you like to have a single focus? Which planner works for you? Are you integrating both systems? Let me know where you're at with your goals. If you have thoughts, questions, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next one.